A Body of Doctrinal Divinity, Book 1, Chapter 1, Argument 3b of the Being of God. All the organs of the senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, feeling are most wonderfully fitted for the purposes for which they are made. Galen, an ancient noted physician, being atheistically inclined, was convinced of this impiety by barely considering the admirable structure of the eye, its various humours, tunics, and provision for its defence and safety. The various operations performed in our bodies, many of which are done without our knowledge or will, are enough to raise the highest admiration in us, as the circulation of the blood through all the body, through all the parts of the body, in a very small space of time, the respiration of the lungs, the digestion of the food, the silification of it, the mixing of the chyle with the blood, the nourishment thereby communicated, and which is sensibly perceived in the several parts of the body, and even in the more remote, which have been wakened and enfeebled by hunger, thirst, and labour, are in any instance revived and strengthened, and the accretion and growth of parts by all this, to which may be added other things worthy of notice: the faculty of speech, peculiar to man, and the organs of it, the features of their faces, and the shape of their bodies, which all differ from one another, the constant supply of animal spirits, the continuance of the vital heat, which itself fire itself, the slender threads and small fibres spread throughout the body, which hold and perform their office 70 or 80 years running, all which, when considered, will oblige us to say, with the inspired psalmist, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvellous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well," and will lead us to ascribe thus curious piece of workmanship to no other than the divine being, the God of all flesh and living. But the soul of man, the more noble part of him, more fully discovers the original author of him, being possessed of such powers and faculties that none but God can give it. It is endowed with an understanding capable of receiving and framing ideas of all things knowable in matters natural, civil, and religious, and with reason, to put these things together and to compare them with each other and discourse concerning them, inferring one thing from another and draw conclusions from them, and with judgments by which it passes sentence on things it takes cognizance of and reason upon, and determines for itself what is right and wrong, and so either approves or disapproves. It has a mind, susceptive of what is proposed unto it. It can by instruction or study learn any language, cultivate any art or science, and with the help of some geographical principles can travel over the globe, can be here and there at pleasure, in the four parts of the world, and, in a short time, vast, every city of note therein, and describe the situation of every city with their religions, manners, customs, and it can reflect on things past, and has a foresight of, and can forecast and provide for things to come. It has a will to escape, to accept or reject, to embrace or refuse what is proposed to it, with the greatest freedom of choice and with the most absolute power and sovereignty. It has affections of love and hatred, joy and grief, hope and fear, according to the different objects it is conversant with. There is also the conscience which is in a man, as 1,000 witnesses for him or against him, which, if it performs its office, as it should do, will accuse him when he does ill, and commend him or excuse him when he does well, and from hence arise either peace of mind or dread of punishment, in such shape or other, either here or there, to which may be added the memory, which is a storehouse of collections of things thought to be most valuable and useful, where they are laid up, not in a confused but orderly manner, so as to be called from and taken out upon occasion. Here men of every character and profession lay up their several stores, to have recourse to, fetch out, as their case and circumstances may require. And besides this, there is the fancy of imagination, which can paint and describe to itself in a lively manner objects presented to it, and it has entertained a conception of, yea, it can fancy and imagine things that never were, nor never will be, and, to observe no more, there is the power of invention, which in some is more, in others less fertile, which on a sudden supplies with what is useful in the case of an emergency. But above all, the soul of man is that wherein chiefly lies the image and likeness of God. When man was in his pure and innocent state, and though it is now sadly depraved by sin, yet it is capable of being renewed by the Spirit of God, and of having the grace of God implanted in it, and is endowed with an immortality, and cannot die. Now to whom such a noble and excellent creature as this owes its origin, but to the divine being, who may with great priority be called the Father of spirits, the Lord, the Jehovah, who formeth the spirit of man within him.